It's really what makes the investment game great, is you don't have to be right on everything. A good hitter, is to wait for the pitch in the sweet spot, basically.
네, 안녕하세요. 비타입니다. 버핏 Q&A를 유튜브로 보면 당시 육성으로 현장감을 느낄 수 있는 장점이 있습니다. 그래서 작업이 오래 걸리면서도 시간 내서 번역 및 편집 작업을 한다고 보시면 됩니다. 좋아요와 구독을 눌러달라는 말은 아니고요. 아무튼 이번에는 버핏의 멋진 투자 아이디어가 어디서 오는가라는 아주 섹시한 질문이 나왔습니다. 답변도 명언으로 남을 표현들과 버핏 특유의 인사이트가 느껴지는 답변 내용도 있으니까 재밌게 봐주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 그럼 2003년 주총으로 가보겠습니다.
Number one.
Yes, my name is Oliver Grauser and I'm from Vienna, Austria. My question has two parts. So the first part is, how do you get a few excellent investment ideas to be so successful? Do you
Thank you. The answer to the first part is sort of, and maybe the second part is sort of all of the above. I mean, we read a lot, and we read daily publications, we read weekly or monthly periodicals, we read annual reports, we read 10Ks, we read 10Qs. And fortunately, the investment business is a business where knowledge accumulates. I mean, everything you learn when you're 20 or 30, you may tweak some as you go along, but it all kind of builds into a knowledge base that's useful forever. And we, at least, I read, Charlie used to read, may still read a fair amount, but I read a lot of 10Ks, read a lot of annual reports. 40 or 50 years ago, I did a lot of talking to managements. I used to go out and take a trip every now and then and really drop in on maybe 15 or 20 companies. I haven't done that for a long, long time. I find everything we do, pretty much I find through public documents. When I made an offer for Clayton Homes, I'd never visited the business. I'd never met the people. I'd done it over the phone. I'd read Jim Clayton's book. I looked at the 10Ks. I knew every company in the industry. I look at competitors. And I try to understand the business and not have any preconceived notions. And there is adequate information out there to evaluate a great many businesses. We do not find it particularly helpful to talk to managements. Managements frequently want to come to Omaha and talk to me, and they usually have a variety of reasons that they say they want to talk to me, but what they're really hoping is we get interested in their stock. That never works. Managements are not the best reporting. In most cases, the figures tell us more than a management does. So we do not spend any real amount of time talking to management. When we buy a business, we look at the record to determine what the management's like, and then we want to size them up personally, as I said earlier, whether they will keep working. But we don't give a hoot about anybody's projections. We don't even want to hear about them in terms of what they're going to do in the future. We've never found any value in anything like that. But just a general business knowledge, what we've seen work, what we've seen has not worked. There's a lot you absorb over time. We never look at any analyst reports. I mean, I don't think if I read one, it was because the funny papers weren't available. It just doesn't. I mean, I don't understand why people do it. But there's a lot of data out there. And, you know, the beauty of it is, it's really what makes the investment game great, is you don't have to be right on everything. You don't have to be right on 20% of the companies in the world, or 10% of the companies in the world, or 5%. You only have to get one good idea every year or two. I would hate to be measured if somebody gave me all 500 stocks in the S&P and I had to make some prediction about how they would behave relative to the market over the next couple of years. I don't know how I would do, but maybe I can find one in there where I think I'm 9 in 10, 90% in being right. It's an enormous advantage in stocks. You only have to be right on a very, very few things in your lifetime, as long as you never make any big mistakes.
What's interesting is that at least 90% of the professional investment management operations don't think the way we do at all. They just think if they hire enough people, they can be better at determining whether Pfizer or Merck is going to do better over the next 20 years.
Yeah, you wait for the fat pitch. Ted Williams wrote about that in a book called The Science of Hitting. He said the most important thing in being a good hitter, you know, is to wait for the pitch in the sweet spot, basically. You know, I've always said that the way to get a reputation for being a good businessman is to buy a good business. You know, it's much easier than taking a lousy business, you know, and showing how wonderful you are at it, because I haven't seen that done very often.
구독하기, 좋아요, 잘 읽었다는 댓글 남겨주세요. 큰 힘이 됩니다.